This morning, 9 News is digging deeper into a controversial Gore website. It's not widely known, but it's easy to access. It has been linked to multiple attacks, including the Evergreen High School shooting. It's led for some to call on the company that hosts the website to pull the plug. Our 9 News legal expert, Whitney Traylor, joins us now to discuss the issue. Thanks for coming in.
Sure, good to be here.
So first of all, what is a Gore website?
Yeah, these Gore websites are websites that you can go to that actually amplify violence. They have a lot of white extremist type mentality. They show actual deaths happening. They promote, and that's the idea that they've actually, you said it on the lead-in, they've actually led to at least 12 deaths as a result of mass shooting and almost 150 injuries because people, it almost radicalizes them going to these websites.
Why are they allowed to exist in the first place?
That's a great question, and a lot of people are really pushing to get them taken down. And really, it's a First Amendment argument, and of course, they can't participate in the violence or incite people to commit violence. And then there's also Section 230 of the Communication Decency Act. That was a federal law that was passed in 1986 when the internet was a lot different. And essentially this gives carte blanche immunity to some of these companies, these website companies they say, hey, you're just bringing them, you're almost like a bulletin board, but you're not responsible for the content. So there's been a push to remedy Section 230 of the Communication Decency Act.
Could some of these websites be sued by the victims?
Yes, they can, and you're seeing that more and more now. We saw that with Meta and some of these other companies that they said, hey, you knew that this was addictive. So it was slightly different, but again, they had this broad immunity. So now you're seeing more and more lawsuits where people are getting creative because they're saying, look, you radicalize these persons. You're no longer just merely hosting this information, but you're actually creating the conditions for violence. So yeah, you're going to see more and more lawsuits, and a lot of times they'll lose because of Section 230. But you're seeing that door kind of being open just a little bit. So I expect much more litigation.
So how can some of these websites be taken down? I mean, I know we're talking about Section 230, First Amendment right, but also like this can cause and has caused harm to other people. So how can they be taken down?
That's a great question, and that's a great point. And I think one of the big issues is going to be the argument that it was foreseeable, that they now are not just hosting, they're actually participating. They know that people are going to these sites, committing violence as a result of it. And there's a direct correlation. They're directly being attributed to this mass violence, and like I said, 12 deaths. So I think we're gonna see some changes. And there's lawmakers, advocacy groups, the courts are all kind of pushing in that direction. But and this is a question for Congress. Why are they not amending Section 230? Right. I mean, it has just given complete immunity to these companies that now the experts are saying are leading to this actual violence.
It's so scary that these actually exist out there and that people visit these websites. Is this become a larger legal issue nationally?
Yes, this has become a larger issue nationally for sure. And it's interesting because when we decided on this topic, I remember years ago with VCRs when I was 10 or 11, and me and my sister and I rented Faces of Death, and that actually showed these deaths. And I remember the feeling. I still remember some of those the visions I saw, and the what it carried for you. So this has definitely become an issue nationally, and it is promoting this kind of radical idea. There's a lot of white supremacy related to it. It's a lot of violence. So I mean, I get that we have the First Amendment, but this is really extreme. And so, yeah, it is becoming a larger issue. I think we're going to see some changes, but as we see, there's still people suffering as a result of this. So
it's so interesting you bring that up, because yesterday when we were discussing topics, Drew brought that up too, Faces of Death or whatever, and he was saying same thing. It was VCR, still remembers it. I didn't even realize that these still exist.
Right. Well, and now, of course, with anything like the internet, everything is so accessible and it's so quick and it's hard to really monitor. Some people say, well, the parents should be liable, but a lot of these sites you can just directly go to. You don't have to even click that you're 18, that kind of thing. So it's really difficult to monitor. And yes, of course, the parents have some responsibility, but it's impossible to keep them completely away from this stuff.
Right.
And this is really easy to get to.
Yeah. Someone out there in the newsroom said, "Oh, is this like on the deep dark web?" And they're like, "No, this is really easily accessible for everyone."
Yes, and we won't say the names,
Right.
but yeah, you could just go right on like anything else. It's not even difficult. So it's a scary thing. We really it's up to the lawmakers, I think, to really push. And then I think the civil lawsuits are actually gonna help too, because I think we're seeing, like I said, we're seeing that door being slightly cracked open, and so lawsuit after lawsuit, I think will have an impact.
Okay. Whitney, thank you for coming in.
Okay.
Appreciate it.